oh, I'm Lamar Jackson. I can get franchised and I can make $46 million next year. But Lamar Jackson is looking for $230 million. He's looking for that fully guaranteed, we think. We think he's looking for a Deshaun Watson type deal, and now the two sides square off again. There's other guys who the franchise tag applies to. We'll talk about Daniel Jones, and we'll talk about Geno Smith and Josh Jacobs and all that stuff. But right now it's about Lamar because he's the biggest prize as well. And if I'm the Baltimore Ravens, you're just crazy if you're going to play games here with Lamar Jackson. You already screwed this up. Okay, Lamar Jackson could have been in line for a contract extension after year 3. Now here we are after year 5, and we still we're not any closer, Perloff, to a long-term contract. If I'm the Ravens, I do not want to know what life is like without Lamar Jackson. I already know a little bit from the games he's missed because of injury, and finally, the team said, hey, maybe we need a new offensive coordinator so that Lamar doesn't have to carry the ball more times in the history than anyone else in the history of the NFL. Maybe we can actually get him wide receivers that can help him out. And maybe he doesn't have to take the hits and expose himself to the danger that he does now. This took until year 5 to figure this out for the Ravens.
Oh, okay. So let me get this straight. You're going to pay Lamar Jackson and tell him to stop running? Is that what's happening now?
I want him to run, but not as much. He doesn't have to be, setting records. Well, now Justin Fields is setting records, but he doesn't have to be running that much. If he had capable wide receivers, I mean, Mark Andrews is his tight end, and he's a Pro Bowl tight end.
Wait, where are these if you're paying Lamar Jackson, where are these magical wide receivers coming from?
Listen, the Bills are somehow able to pay Josh Allen and Stephon Diggs. The Eagles will pay Jalen Hurts and will still have A.J. Brown. There are ways that you can pay guys.
Well, look at Green Bay couldn't pay Aaron Rodgers and Devontae Adams. Kansas City could not pay
Devontae Adams wanted to leave.
Patrick Mahomes and Tyreek Hill. There is a thinking out there.
But they play Kelsey.
You can't pair a highly paid quarterback and a highly paid wide receiver. It's hard now. You're right. The Eagles will probably do it, but it's going to hurt.
Well, you're going to have to rob Peter to pay Paul other places, no doubt. But it's the benefit of having a franchise quarterback. At some point, you're going to have to pay him, but look at what Lamar has already done to a subpar offense over all these years. This has not been like this gangbusters offense where he's, Brock Purdy and he's got all these playmakers and all he has to do is do a naked bootleg and he's going to find, Deebo Samuel. That's not what this is. This is first-round draft picks that they've whiffed on, guys who they don't have enough depth around him at wide receiver. How many years in a row have we been saying Ravens need wide receivers?
There is no way their wide receiver room doesn't get worse if they sign him to a huge deal. It's going to get worse. It's not going to get better.
It's bad now.
Let's pay him all this money and then get him a star wide receiver. That's a fantasy land idea.
Other teams have made it work. Now,
no, they really haven't. Who's made it work?
I'm telling you, Josh Allen and Stephon Diggs are both making massive money.
And let's talk about the rest of the roster there. Well, don't you think that they're a little cash-strapped at certain spots?
They are, but they're also a 13-win team. So, I mean, you can't say, they haven't won a Super Bowl yet.
They have not paid Jalen Hurts and A.J. Brown. That's another one that hasn't happened yet, so we can't say that. It's hard. Wide receivers get more expensive every year. It's going to be hard. You're not going to improve. Okay, if you're the Ravens, we need to get Lamar Jackson weapons, so let's give him more money than any player's ever gotten. That makes no sense.
Well, it doesn't make sense to say, let's wave bye-bye to him, and let's wave goodbye, because you have an elite quarterback in the building. And you don't want to see what life is like on the other side here. I mean, draft picks are awesome when they're theoretical draft picks. Once you take them, who are you taking? You're going to take Anthony Richardson? You're going to put him in here? What are you expecting to happen here?
No.
Insert quarterback. Who do you want?
I stay out of this class altogether. This is what I would do.
So you want Snoop Huntley? You want to go back in with Pro Bowler Snoop Huntley to go in?
Well, I think he's a free agent too. But
yeah, okay. But you could. I'm thinking you could probably bring him back if you wanted to.
At some point, Maggie, the Baltimore Ravens are going to have to rebuild. They can't stay 10 wins forever. At some point, they're going to have to rip the Band-Aid off and say, hey, we're not building a Super Bowl team here. What are we doing wrong? Because since the Joe Flacco Super Bowl, how many playoff games have they won? 1 and 2, maybe? They're not really a threat the way they're constituted. And I'm not blaming Lamar for that. The offense around him is not good. But it's not going to get good by giving all that money to Lamar. You're going to have to say goodbye to people, not hello to more people.
Okay, but this is what happens when you have a quarterback who's worth it, because you don't have these other playmakers. So maybe you're talking about, what do you want more? Do you want a quarterback who might be expensive but has already elevated guys who aren't very good, and you've seen the results.
You just said he hasn't elevated them.
No, he has elevated an offense. That's nothing. They're nothing without Lamar. Duvernay and Bateman? I mean, it's not exactly the who's who here.
Okay. Let's be honest, though. Part of the reason is because Lamar Jackson is part of the offense is the reason these receivers are not thriving. Well, it could be more of the coach, but
finally they changed offensive coordinators this offseason. Yeah, but let's see what that's like.
They didn't really get the next Sean McVay and Todd Monken. He's been around and failed a couple times at other places.
But it's not Greg Roman, who's all about running quarterbacks.
Yeah, I admit the offense was stunted, but Hollywood Brown wanted to leave. He's like, get me out of here. So we don't really know how good these receivers are.
Yeah, and he wanted to go play with Kyler Murray. So let's think about his decision making.
No, listen. And I watched him play, and it was like, he's okay.
Yeah.
But it's hard to say that they failed on wide receiver because their offense does not help wide receivers. Honestly, I don't know where they go with this team. Is going to be in limbo. If they sign Lamar Jackson for all that money, and they just signed Roquan Smith, the defense will be good, but their hands will be tied. Look at the recent Super Bowl teams. Do any of them resemble this? A super expensive quarterback with nothing around them? No, they're all quarterbacks on rookie deals. That's how you get to the Super Bowl.
Well, not Patrick Mahomes.
But okay, Patrick Mahomes and Tom Brady are the two exceptions, right? What did they do? They took less money. Patrick Mahomes signed a 10-year, $450 million. You think Lamar is going to take less money to help? Actually, Patrick Mahomes was very specific. He wanted to help re-sign Kelsey. He wanted to help re-sign Chris Jones. I don't see Lamar Jackson doing any of that. It seems like, based on the reporting, which is we don't know everything, Lamar Jackson has no interest in helping the Ravens here. He wants as much as he can get. Well, I mean, you're just talking about a guy who wants what the market dictates. Well, Mahomes didn't want that. Well, but Mahomes also, it was a $500 million deal. So I'm sure the Ravens would do that. He was labeled as the first $500 million quarterback. And Mahomes still makes a lot of money. I mean, there is a reason why they did have to say goodbye to Tyreek Hill. Yeah, that's true. But do a deal like that with Lamar Jackson. It's a long-term, expensive. And think about the other things, the other things, too, about Kansas City and what Mahomes helps you do, because he's the best quarterback in the league. Right. They do not have any expensive corners, right? Right. Their defense, I mean, comes together when you need it, but nobody's really writing home. There's not, songs being written about the Kansas City Chiefs defense in the regular season. Right. So you're saying Lamar doesn't do all those things? No, I'm just saying that the team decided that they still want to have an elite defense. Like that's in the Ravens' MO. The Chiefs, not so much. They want a couple good pieces on defense. You need Chris Jones, and you need playoff Frank Clark, and then they had 3 rookies playing in the secondary, and they won a Super Bowl. So it's like the Ravens' ethos is different. They always want to have a great defense. They're going to keep investing in that great defense, and that's something where the Kansas City Chiefs are like, no. So we can pay Mahomes, we can pay Kelsey all this money, right? And they're able to make it work. The Ravens just operationally don't do that. So they paid Mahomes $141 million guaranteed. I think that the Ravens would do that with Lamar Jackson, but I don't think Lamar Jackson would take that. No, he already turned down $33 million. So I think he wants. We have to assume that he wants the Deshaun Watson deal, $230 million guaranteed. Do you really think the Ravens, if they give that money to Lamar Jackson, are going to be built like other Super Bowl teams recently? It just feels like it's going to be hard. I mean, I think a lot of teams with rookie young quarterbacks like the Eagles with Jalen Hurts this year are in a much better position to build a Super Bowl team. Well, yeah, of course. I mean, it makes it a little easier, but at the same time, they could have gotten something done with him after year 3, decided not to do it, and now here we are. Some costs. Yeah, but nobody anticipated that Deshaun Watson was going to get $230 million guaranteed. It didn't reset the market because guys have signed since then and didn't ask for fully guaranteed contracts. Kyler Murray, Russell Wilson, but they're also not 26 years old and have the future in front of them that Lamar could have. By the way, if he had signed after his 3rd year, he'd be a free agent next year probably anyway. So you'd be in the same boat. No, because he would have been the same class as Josh Allen. And so they're the same class. Josh Allen just re-signed after his 3rd year, and his deal starts kicking in this year. Right, but it would have been 3 years. The big money. It would have been 3 years, so they would have had to make a decision on Lamar after this season. Well, what you could do is just give him a lot of money up front as like the signing bonus type stuff, and then it doesn't count against the average annual. Like there's a way, if you want to play ball that's not just a fully guaranteed contract, like Deshaun Watson's, you can kind of move the money around a little bit more, which is why
listen, they're going to have a cap hit this year if they franchise tag him of $46 million.
But do you think they seriously regret not doing a deal after 3 years there? Probably.
Yeah, definitely.
But he's been hurt the last 2 seasons, and they probably would have had to pay huge money by now. He would have eaten up their salary cap at this point, or by next year.
It sounds like you're making a case to never pay a quarterback.
Yeah, well, I'm of the camp, unless you can get a guy like Mahomes who will work with the team. Yeah, I love that. I'm in love with that 5-year window where the quarterback is not paid a lot. But look at the Super Bowls. There's been 1 Super Bowl.
Well, Matthew Stafford made a lot.
Okay, Matthew Stafford, but who is he going against?
Joe Burrow.
Joe Burrow, rookie deal. Go year to year. Mahomes was on his rookie deal and made 2 Super Bowls. Mm-hmm. Everybody's on their rookie deal. There's so many rookie deals making Super Bowls. This year, Jalen Hurts. That trend has to say something, doesn't it?
Well, yeah, but you also it's rare to be in a position where you can keep drafting quarterbacks, right? Yeah. And you can find guys listen, I think the Eagles kind of got pretty lucky here, or lucky and kind of understood the value of Jalen Hurts where other people didn't, where they were paying a quarterback and then found Hurts in the 2nd round.
If you were going to your owner, the Ravens,
yeah, and
the owner said, "How are you going to get me to the Super Bowl?" That's all I care about.
Yes.
Super Bowl or bust.
Yeah. I'm saying I want to start with Lamar.
And the owner says, but doesn't Lamar want $230 million guaranteed?
I would say I think this is something we need to do. Because tell me, are the contracts for quarterbacks going up or are they going down?
They're going up.
They're going up. So at some point, if I have an elite quarterback, I'm going to have to pay them. Lamar is elite. Let's get this. We want to do this the easy way or do we want to do it the hard way? And I would say let's do this the easy way. Let's pay our quarterback because this is do we think Joe Burrow is going to want a fully guaranteed contract? He might. Justin Herbert, they might.
Yeah.
We have no idea. These guys are all coming up now. I would say let's get this thing done, and then let's figure out how we're going to build this around him. And changing our offensive coordinator, I think, was a really good start. Now, obviously, you need another wide receiver. No kidding.
I don't know. I'm definitely not psyched about that. If the Ravens end up paying all that money,
do you think
Lamar
they should trade him?
I would, if you could really get this monster haul, and Lamar is really miserable and doesn't want to work with the team, which kind of people are speculating on, then yeah, I would trade him. I would trade him to Atlanta for four first-round picks. It's never been a trade like that, but say that trade was out on the table.
You don't want to trade him to the Jets because it's in the AFC?
I just think Atlanta would offer a lot more. I think a team that has no identity would be
anyone who's in on Deshaun.
Yeah, it would be. I think Atlanta is the perfect fit for Deshaun Watson. And also, the other thing, too, is Atlanta has a chance of being bad because say Deshaun gets hurt, they could really be bad 1 year, and you could get a good draft pick out of
You think they have the more bust potential than the Jets? It's Samter, you should take offense to
the Jets had this defense. Atlanta has nothing.
Yeah, we have talent somewhere.